morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody? Welcome to another episode of Roll Around, Find Out. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the latest major tabletop game to come to market of sorts, and that is Daggerheart. If you were to go and search Daggerheart on YouTube or the Google's Reddit, you will quickly learn that this is the newest game from the people behind Critical Role. They have a publishing company called Darrington Press that it will be putting it out. And as of, I think it was March 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere around there, it is in open beta, which means it is open to everybody to go and check out. And that is what we are going to do. I'm in a super casual mode right now. Relaxing on my couch. My dog Ranger's barking upstairs because my Roomba's running. Not in my normal setup. Just, I wanted to do this, but I wasn't in the mood to make it all formal. Plus, I would say this is not a review of Daggerheart. I've just briefly looked at this, checked out a couple YouTube videos. This is more of a first impression. So here we go. Daggerheart, open beta version 1.2 on daggerheart.com. Going through, I have not watched this video, but this is going to do a much better job than me and explaining how Daggerheart works. But I want to dive in and just see what it's all about. I'll check this out later. I know that if I don't record this right now, I'll push it off too long. So rather than just watch this video and then fall deep into the YouTube black hole that I know will happen, I set up and we're here now. Okay. So a great video on how to play it. I know the big mechanic is that there are 2d12s, and we'll learn exactly, but one of them represents fear and the other represents, I think, hope. And as you roll, you add them together plus an ability score or ability modifier. And based on that number, just like D&D, roll 20, or roll D20, roll high, meet a score. It works like that. However, if your fear score is higher, then you succeed with a penalty. If your hope score is higher, you succeed with a bonus or something like that. I'm sure this video would explain it, but like I said, not going through it. But that's the main gist. 2d12s, roll high. But fear and hope and those dice matter. I was going to get to it later, but we'll go into it now. I do subscribe to this guy. He's okay. Some things are a little whatever. But D&D Shorts, I watched this video, 22 minutes, and it goes over how to play it, the 2d12 dice, pros and cons, how it's like D&D, how it's not like D&D. And so I recommend checking that out. I think it's a pretty good video explaining it. All right. What else do we have on here? Critical Role creates characters in Daggerheart. So I don't know how many of these people do. Let me see. Can I click on it? It's 2 hours long. So I imagine... Oh, let's just do this. Okay, if they're all there, then they must all convert their characters over. So I think that's pretty cool. It's a good bridge between the systems. And if you don't know anything about Critical Role, if you're listening to this with my incredibly small audience, shout out to my 8 Spotify followers. Love you. Then you definitely know Critical Role. If you don't, It's the largest live let's play of D&D, and of course, with the OGL debacle and just other things, they're a business, they want to make money, and everything ties back to D&D. So they said, well, if we come up with our own system, we're popular enough, we can make money off of this. And Matt Mercer, the main DM, the main person behind it, has got decades of experience, and I'm sure he's not perfectly happy with D&D. I'm a very, very casual follower of Critical Role. I think what they do is great. I don't know if it is scripted or not scripted, but it's just such a commitment. It is every week, 2, 3, 4 hours. I forget how long they play for. But, I mean, I have a hard enough time getting people to play. I don't know if I have the time to just sit down and watch other people play. I got other things to do. And also, even though I am making content, I don't always find Let's Play videos that exciting. Unless I am running the adventure, like I thought I was going to run Curse of Strahd at one point. So I'm watching Let's Plays of Curse of Strahd, seeing how groups do it, and it kind of gives me a sense of, oh, okay, players might think of this, they might forget this, or whatever, and I like that. So currently, right now, I'm all hopped up on Mothership, and let's see if I can find that, actually. Oh, this is like ADD. I got off on a tangent. Questing Beast YouTube. I should have just searched it on YouTube, but can I find it on here? Video, shorts, live, community. Yeah, here we go. So freaking excited. The Mothership box set is in Questing Beast's hands. It's here. I've waited a year and a half, 2 years maybe even, to get this, and it's gonna be so freaking sick. I can't even remember what I ordered. I wanted the deluxe set, but I wanted this box, and so I can't remember. I don't think I got both. I spent $100, I know that, and I am freaking pumped. It's gonna be so awesome. Okay, back on task. Here we go. Daggerheart, that's what you came here for. And it's a marketing tool for them. Look at right here. Come check it out. Oh, March 12th. That must have been when it came out. Only 2 days ago? Oh, okay. All right. I am an old boomer, and I am losing track of life. What is Daggerheart? It's a fantasy tabletop role-playing game of brave heroics and vibrant worlds that are built together with your gaming group. Create a shared story with your adventuring party and shape your world through rich long-term campaign play. So they just recently also came out with another system, Candela Obscura, and this is more of a, what would you call this? I don't know what the Illuminated World system is, but it's like a, if I can't find it quick, like a steampunky kind of sort of Sherlock Holmes esque game, and it labels itself, I think, as not necessarily long-term play, more made for one-shots, but I could be wrong on that, but that's my understanding of it. Okay, Daggerheart. Let's see. Become your own hero. Join our team. Ooh, we want anyone and everyone to help us make Daggerheart as wonderful as possible, which means helping us break the game. Seriously, the game is not finished or polished yet, which is why it's critical to gather all your feedback ahead of Daggerheart's public release in 2025. Good information. Tell us what you really think. Please play often and bring your feedback to us. While we enjoy seeing your feedback anywhere we can, our open beta surveys are the best way for us to efficiently manage and incorporate all your thoughts in one streamlined process. Yeah. right? The D&D Shorts guy goes into this demi plane. I've never heard of it. I'm kind of hesitant to jump into a virtual tabletop, though I definitely know they have their pros. I've used Roll20 as a player, and it is pretty cool, but it seems like a lot of work on the DM's end to set something like this up. I would rather. Now, I'm not a miniature guy either. I but I will draw you a crappy map anytime you want. That I'm a theater of the mind. Here's the general gist, and then let your brain fill in the gaps. Like, I was running something at school last Friday for my D&D club, and I had a new kid show up. He had very little D&D experience, and I used my system, my easy role-playing game system I've got on Drive-Thru RPG. Said, tell me 3 things you're good at, 1 or 2 things you're bad at, and away we went. And I said, oh, okay, you got to come up with a name, which character name? And he said, Bread. I said, oh, okay, interesting name. Is there a reason why you like bread? He said, yeah, I'm a loaf of bread. What? I wasn't going into D&D. Are you human? Are you a dwarf? None of that. I just assumed he was going to be human. First time we were just doing basic one-shot-ish type story, and then it just evolved into, he was a loaf of bread, a sentient, is that the word, loaf of bread, and another person was playing with us, an adult who wanted to learn, and she's going to be helping me run the club, which is awesome. And so she's kind of like figuring things out too, and she's, well, can I like eat you? Can I like get bread from you and heal up? And I just so many things. He's like, I walk silently. I'm soft as bread. Anyways, I don't know what got me started on that. That has nothing to do with feedback. That for virtual tabletops. That I'm a theater of the mind guy. You're gonna tell me there's what numbers do I punch in for a loaf of bread? So especially at this middle school age, like I cannot say no to them. No, you can't be a loaf of bread. Sure, absolutely, you can be a loaf of bread. Okay, so I did not know that this website existed. Darrington Press, I don't really know anything about. I didn't know that they have all these different products. Maybe I'll check them out later. I knew Candela Obscura. It's also relatively new, but I learned about it from here, Drive-Thru RPG, and I am shocked that there is only 1 rating. This has got to be like one of the biggest, newest games on the platform here, and that's it. That's all we got. Couple discussions here. Let's see. I've only briefly played it, but so far it seems like a Frankenstein game that pulls ideas from a half dozen different games, but doesn't really innovate or do anything brand new and unique. Meanwhile, it doesn't know what kind of experience it wants to offer. A rules-light narrative game or a crunchy game with meaty mechanical choices, a theater of the mind experience, or tactical game with minis and maps. It tries to do both at the same time, and as a result, doesn't do either particularly well. Okay? It's just a hipster type game that no one would play if Matt Mercer and company wasn't attached to it. That's interesting. That's a fair point. I'll make up my own opinion on it, but the big draw is the Critical Role popularity. Let's see. Unfortunately, this game is impossible to play over the internet. Well, I don't think that's true. Yeah, the demi-plane. So that guy is an idiot. I'll just say it. I said it. Sorry, Jared O. Okay, and it comes with a ton of stuff. So a quick start, which I have not looked at. 5 pre-generated characters. Great. Full draft core rules, which we're going to get into. It's like 300 pages, which I know it's in beta, but like... that's amazing. You're getting a ton of content whether it stays or goes, like if you were a game designer, take it and take the pieces from it and make it your own. It's great. All right, the D&D Shorts guide goes into these cards, which think of it as like mini. He said they were like feats for your character in D&D, but on card form, which is probably more accurate. But for me, I was kind of thinking them as extension, like mini extensions of your character sheet. So, like, I know for D&D, I am terrible at bookkeeping, and I would love to have cards with like my armor and weapon stats on them, so I can just readily have them. Like right now, it's so boring. Just like for my paladin, it's longsword +4 +3. Like that's all that I have on there. So I think they got creative, but maybe well, we'll get into it. We'll look and we'll see. All right. Character sheets for each class: Bard, Druid, Guardian, Ranger, Rogue, Seraph, Sorcerer, Warrior, Wizard. So I don't know what a Guardian is. I'm going to guess like a Paladin. Seraph might be like a Paladin. I think a Seraph is like an Angel. We're going to go in and we're going to find out. Again, this is my first impression. This is not a review. Information on the art, game designer, developers. Let's see. The video there on how to play it. Great. Okay. So let's get to it. Do I have the folder right here? Okay. So when you download it, this is what you get. Start here. Close out. Make this fancy. Daggerheart, start here directions. These materials are from March 12th. Okay, so there we go. 2 days ago. I thought it was a week ago. Before starting each session, we recommend checking in to see if there are any updates. Welcome to the Daggerheart Open Beta Playtest. Gather here, you'll find all the materials needed to start playing your own game. The Quick Start Adventure is a great place to begin. We've built it to streamline play for those who are learning Daggerheart. It includes a 3-hour adventure, a walkthrough of core rules, and 5 pre-gen characters. For GMs, we have a folder just for you. Within it, you can find all of the sheets you'll want to reference for character creation, campaign maps to start your adventure, and a folder with every card in the game. If you're playing in person, don't forget to print the action tracker card. All other cards can also be found in the player materials. For players, there is a folder for each class that contains all the print and play materials you will need to begin making a character. There are instructions on page 1 that explain how to print materials ranging from level 1 to level 10, including all the cards, sheets, and tables you will need. So more stuff than D&D. D&D is player's handbook and a character sheet and pencil, right? And dice. But you need those for this as well. All right. Player manuscript. We're going to get into that last because I'll open it, but I'm going to close it. It is 377 pages. Amazing and yikes at the same time. All right, Quick Start Adventure. Let's just get a little vibe for what's going on here. Okay, Daggerheart. Open Beta Quick Start Adventure. Welcome to the Daggerheart Open Beta Playtest. Before you begin, you'll need 3 to 6 players, 2 to 5. Well, those will be players. 1's the GM. Great. Materials, pencil, dice, 2 D12s of different color, a handful of character tokens. Let's see. 10 fear tokens for the GM. A handful of character tokens. At least 7 for each player. These can be anything small you have laying around that won't be confused for dice. Interesting. Start by having the GM read the Sablewood Messengers section on the right side of this page aloud. So that must be this right here. Marlowe Fairwind, the right-handed sorcerer of King Emerus, has gathered... That's kind of weird. That what does it matter that she's right-handed? Okay, probably relevant. Marlowe Fairwind, the right hand. Oh my god, I am dumb. I know my friend Kyle's not listening, but I play Magic the Gathering with Kyle, and I'm known as like not being a card reader. I'll just like one time I literally started a sentence mid-sentence, and I was like trying to really understand the card, and I'm just like skipping over words. It's not right-handed, you dummy. It's right hand. Okay. Marlowe Fairwind, the right hand sorcerer of King Emerus, has gathered her most trusted allies to carry an important package to Hush, a small village within the ancient forest of Sablewood. The crate is large, heavy, and sealed with magic, addressed to Whitefire Arcanist. You've been given a map and a carriage and the promise of reward upon your arrival. Great start. Got names, kings involved, ancient forest, magic item, mission, treasure. Let's rock. That's pretty good bang for your buck there in just a couple sentences. There are 5 pre-gen characters. The GM should read the options to the players and have them take the 4-page character packet of the one they would like to play. You can be Marlowe Fairwind. Okay, yeah. Okay. Here they are. Marlowe Fairwind. This is an lore-born elf sorcerer. And I definitely won't go over each one line for line, but let's do this first one. Marlowe Fairwind is the personal mage to King Emerus and is responsible for bringing this group together. She appears calm until she isn't. Dang, look at them ties. All right. Breakdown. Community. Marlowe is part of the lore-born community, meaning she grew up in a place that values knowledge and learning. Perfect. Ancestry. She is an elf, giving her long, pointed ears and acutely attuned senses. Hopefully that plays in her stats. Class and subclasses. As a primal origin sorcerer, I mean, if you're coming from D&D, you got to know a whole new line of jargon. As a primal origin sorcerer, she can shape and change the magic she casts in unique ways. Experience. Marlowe has the experiences Royal Mage and Not on My Watch. She will be able to utilize these in play when they apply. Okay, well, we'll learn later what those mean. Weapon. She wields a dual staff that can hit targets in far range and, when successful, deals 1d8 plus 2 magic damage. Question. Why do you think King Emerus trusts you more than anyone else to deliver this package? I like this. Within a pre-generated character, here you are able to make it your own. I think that's really nice. The basics. Duality dice. 2d12 dice of different colors. Choose one to represent hope and one to represent fear. Action rolls. Most rolls you make will be action rolls. They use the duality dice. Roll them together, add any modifiers that apply, and tell the GM the total, as well as what die rolled higher. I rolled a 10 on the fear die and a 7 on the hope die. So that's a 17 with fear. That's the vernacular or vocabulary you would say. Hope and fear. When you roll with hope, mark a hope on your character sheet. You'll be able to spend any hope you have to aid future rolls for you and your allies. When you roll with fear, the GM takes a fear. They can spend the fear to instigate or accentuate challenges in the scene. Oh, okay. Hope helps you, fear helps the DM. Interesting. That is... I can't think of a game I've read that has that mechanic. I want to know if you are able to build a character that allows for more hope and less fear. Attack rolls. When you make an attack on a target, it works just like an action roll, but you'll use the character trait the weapon or spell calls for as your modifier. On a success, you'll usually make a damage roll. Now, in the D&D short video that I watched, I believe he said that attacks use a D20. And he seemed pretty bummed by that because he said, we got a whole new system here and your shtick is the 2D12s. But once you get to combat, you go back to the D20. He said, you might want to tweak it and just always use the 2D12s. Now, I know that's a whole thing, the swinginess of a D20 versus the curve of 2D12s, but that's a discussion for another day. So here, damage rolls. Roll your damage dice and add their values together. Then tell the GM the value and type of damage you're doing. I rolled an 8 plus 2. That's 10 points of magic damage. Okay. Character sheet and cards. On the next page, you'll find the character sheet for Marlowe. To finish off the build, mark 2 hope and 1 handful of gold. A handful of gold. Interesting. The third page will provide you with a guide for your character sheet. The fourth page is your starting loadout of cards, as well as some guidance on how to use them. Character standee. Cut out the standee below for Marlowe and fold the paper in half so that she can stand on her own on the table. Keep this next to you for now. You'll need it once you get into battle. Okay? So your character token and connections here. Create connections with your party before beginning. Assign at least one of these relationships to a character. Oh, this is very cool. I trust you with my life. I once considered you close. I owe you a favor. Instant, well, just like it says there, instant relationship with your the other players at the table. First impression here, not kid-friendly, very wordy. If you are new to tabletop games, right off the bat, I don't necessarily think this is for you, and I also don't think that that would be the intended target. I don't think they're going for new players. Yes, they would want to convert you if you're new, not convert if you're new, but they would want to entice you to pick their game over D&D. And I think D&D Shorts also mentions this. It's true that if they come out with a video, maybe I closed out of it. If they come out with a video on their website showing you, hey, this is how you can convert your characters to our system. Let's see. Yeah, right here. They are trying to get you to leave D&D to play their game, which I get. Totally get. Makes total sense. Okay, back here. So again, I don't think this is made for beginners to the hobby. I think 5e, it obviously has brought tons of people to the game, whether that be Critical Role, COVID, whatever. The rules are simplified. In, first edition, advanced D&D, crunchy, old school Renaissance, right? Lower hit points, more real. Third edition, very crunchy. One of these days I would really like to be invited to play a third edition campaign. I would really like to learn the ins and the outs of that. But then we get to fourth edition, which, fair or not, it's very video gamey, and I think there's a lot to take from fourth edition. But fifth edition watered down a lot of rules. I think it made it really more simple, and that brought more people in, and I totally respect what it has done. But I think it's great. You start with D&D, and then you branch out and find, or I should say 5th edition, and then you branch out and find the things that you're really interested in. Like for me, Bare Bones Fantasy, D&D got me in to the hobby. Love it. I hope I play until the day I die. But for me, I like percentile dice, I like rules light, and I like horror. Mothership is my number one. Bare Bones Fantasy, number one, probably for fantasy. I've yet to find another one that I would be my go-to. Okay. Here is an example of the character sheet. Sorcerer, Arcana, and Midnight. I have no idea what that means. Name, Marlowe Fairwind. Pronouns, yes, it's 2024, so pronouns. Heritage, Loreborn Elf. Subclass, Primal Origin, level 1. I'll start on the left here. Evasion, 9. Start at 9. I believe evasion is you need to receive at least 9 points of damage. Might be 10, but I'm going to say at least 9 points of damage before it even registers as a hit for you. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe this is what it is. Then, once it hits you, so this is for your attack roll. You're like dodging for attack roll. Then, if they hit you, oh well, hang on. I totally explained that awfully. That was an awful way to do it. This is like your armor class. You gotta roll at least a 9 to be hit. Someone's gotta roll at least a 9 to hit you. Okay. Duh. All right. And then armor does not work like 5th edition, where it just adds to your armor class. Armor is damage reduction. So once you're hit, then you're taking damage. Your armor soaks up 5 points of it. I don't remember what these boxes mean. I think your armor can break. I think that's what this represents. But that could be wrong. And as a first impression, I don't know the answer, but we'll go through and we'll figure it out. All right, here are the stats. Agility, strength, finesse, instinct, presence, and knowledge. And I love that it is just the number, just the modifier. I don't know how it's calculated, but I love that it's just one number. And I also love that they give you descriptions of what these are. Total miss for D&D's character sheets. Totally should have these right there so players know. Agility, sprint, leap, maneuver. Strength, lift, smash, grapple. Finesse, control, hide, tinker. Instinct, perceive, sense, navigate. Presence, charm, perform, deceive. And knowledge, recall, analyze, comprehend. Me personally, I would have liked to have seen 1 or possibly 2 less stats. Plenty of games only have 3. This has 6. I get it. It opens up more options. You can have more classes. Each one of these represents a class. I get it. All right. Okay. Hit points and stress. Start at minor 3, major 8, and severe 13. So I need to know more about this, but I believe, let's see. I think if you take 3 or less damage, you mark 1 HP. I guess I don't know how stress works. If you take 4 to 8 damage, you lose 2 HP. And if you take 13 or more damage, you lose 3 hit points. So, a little leap you have to make. It's not just, oh, I take whatever damage the dice says I take. No. You have to take that number, and then where does it land on here? And I think in the D&D short video, again, go watch it. That's way better than I'm talking about. This is just me walking through it, learning it. but I believe he said this is a great way to negate infinite combos. Sure, you can deal 1,000, 10,000, a million infinite damage. Doesn't matter. Oh, you were over 13? It's 3 hit points lost. Great. I've not played a system like that. It's probably feel bad if you roll huge and you're not quite getting that huge loss, but given the system, I mean, losing 3 hit points versus losing 1 hit point, that's math is hard, but that's 3 times as much. So, and then stress, I don't know how stress works. Looking through the player's manual, we'll learn about that. Hope, spend hope to use an experience or help an ally. Well, what is an experience? These were the 2 that were mentioned before, Royal Mage and Not on My Watch. We'll learn what those mean. Here is your weapons. We've got a dual staff, which uses instinct far. Trait and range. So that's weird that those are connected. I would have like trait, line, range, its own section. Okay. Regardless, 1d8 plus 2 magic damage. Here we have proficiency. I don't know what that means. I don't know where I would have seen proficiency any place else, but it is there. Interesting. Active armor. I don't know why it's just armor, but breastplate armor, 5. Sure, got it. Inventory. Minor stamina potion. Clears 1d4 stress. Okay. Gold. Ooh, zoom out. Interesting. Handfuls, bags, chests, hoards, and fortune. So if you're an accountant, think of like buying a hotel room as just petty cash. Like, yeah, you've got handfuls of gold, just whatever. You can afford the hotel. We're not micromanaging that to that level. But you want to get a new sword? You want to get a new weapon? That could be a handful of gold. Right? Interesting. I'd like to read up on the rationale of that. But I think that's pretty cool. Okay. Class feature. Arcane Sense. As far as I know, not mentioned anyplace else. I don't know when these apply, so let's read. Arcane Sense. You can sense the presence of magical people and objects when you're close to them. Okay. Doesn't seem like it's a roll, it's just it happens. You can sense when something is magical. Makes sense given that you are a sorcerer. Minor illusion. Roll with spellcast. 10. Don't know what that means. On a success, you create a minor illusion no larger than yourself within close range that is convincing to anyone in far range or further. Range, roll with spellcast. So you must, I'm going to guess, I got a brain, I've played games, that you have to roll a 10 or higher, and your spellcast ability for a sorcerer must be instinct. That's our highest stat on here. Not sure. Yeah, +2 for magic. Yeah, it's definitely +2, and the only thing I could think of would be instinct. However, it's not circled here. Okay, learning. Don't know. Channel raw power. Once per long rest, you can place a domain card from your loadout into your vault and choose to either gain hope equal to the level of the card or add magic damage equal to twice the level of the card to a spell attack you've successfully cast. Right? I'm going to imagine that the vault is your like used cards. Since it's once per long rest, okay, I've used it. It's in the vault. Maybe after a long rest, you can get things from the vault. Right? Oh, yeah, I looked at this and I thought, that is a lot of words. I will struggle because it's a lot of words. And a sneeze is coming. Excuse me. All right. This section denotes your class. Each class is made up of 2 domains. Yours are Arcana and Midnight. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's what this mentioned up here on the character sheet. You'll choose the majority of your abilities and spells from these domains. Oh, yeah. I think when you level up, let's see. Each class is made up of 2 domains. You'll choose them. I think it's like a skill tree when you level up versus a like planned set of stuff. Okay? This section gives you a place to record your name, pronouns, heritage, and subclass. There is also a space to record your level. I don't know where. Scrolling by. Where would you write that? Right here? Evasion. Evasion represents your ability to not be hit by an attack. Oh, here we go. Are these the rules? Nice. Yours is 9. The GM will roll against this number when they see if an adversary hits you. If you do get hit, you'll be able to mark armor slots, the boxes to the right of armor, to reduce the incoming damage by your armor score. The number in armor. Your armor score is 5. If you do get hit, you'll be able to mark armor slots. Okay, so you get hit, you have to mark your armor. Does your armor break? Let's read this again more slowly. Evasion represents your ability to not be hit by an attack. Yours is 9. The GM will roll against this number when seeing if an adversary hits you. I would love for it to say at 9. I guess here it does say start at 9. But if the adversary rolls 9 or higher, that's what I would like to see. If you do get hit, you'll be able to mark armor slots, the boxes to the right of, quote, armor, to reduce the incoming armor damage by your armor score. The number in armor, your armor score is 5. Well, why am I checking the boxes? I don't understand. This area contains your 6... What is this? Where would you use this? How is this laid out? I could only understand if this was like a see-through piece of paper that you laid on top of this. I am confused. All right. This area contains your 6 character traits. These are what you will use your primary modifiers on action rolls. They have descriptions beneath to remind you. That's great. The 3 boxes on top are your damage thresholds. Whenever you take damage compared to the numbers here, if the incoming damage is 3 to 7, it is minor. You mark 1 hit point. All right, yeah, got that. I understood that. If you ever mark your last hit point, you must make a death move. Let me see. Let me actually read, because I don't read. If it's 13, it's severe damage, and you mark 3 points. If it's 2 below, you mark... Okay, yeah. For you, if the incoming damage is 3 to 7, it is minor damage, and you mark 1 hit point. If it's between 8 to 12, it is major damage, and you mark 2 hit points. If it is 13 plus, It is severe damage, and you mark 3 points. If it's 2 or below, oh, interesting. Okay. You mark 1 stress. If you should ever need to mark stress and can't, you mark a hit point. If you ever mark your last hit point, you must make a death move. Interesting stress mechanic. So, you were hit, but the damage was so low that it didn't really do anything. So imagine like your armor absorbs the blow, so the sword doesn't cut you, but it damages you enough, breaks the bone or something underneath it. We're not gonna say breaks, but stings you enough. You got an ouchie. You get enough ouchies, then it adds up. All right, okay. This is the section of your active weapons. Yeah. One-handed or two-handed, you'll see. Yeah, okay, don't care. This is where you record your hope. You may spend hope to use an experience, details below, or to help an ally. When you help an ally, you explain how you're aiding them and give them 1d6 advantage die to add to their action roll. You start with 2 hope marked. I like that. Yes, that is how advantage works. Advantage and disadvantage. I actually can't speak to disadvantage, but I know advantage is you add a d6 to your roll. Disadvantage might be you subtract that d6. That would make sense, but I can't 100% say that. All right. Experience represents the particular specializations your character has. Specializations. Oh my god. Experience represents the particular specializations your character has. These are native tags that you create to reflect what your character is skilled in. When they apply to the scene, you can spend hope before the action roll to add their value as a modifier. You will earn more of these throughout a campaign, but you start with Royal Mage and Not My Watch. We'll learn what those are. This is where you keep track of your gold during a campaign. If you should mark your 6th handful, you instead mark a bag and erase all of your handfuls. If you should mark your 5th bag, you instead mark a chest and erase your bags. You start with 1 handful marked. Inventory, consumables, okay. Class features, sure. This is where you would store any weapon but not have active. Oh, okay. Here we go. That's active. While in your inventory, features from these weapons are not usable. All right. Slide this out to the left of Marlowe's character sheet. Oh, do you fold it there? Slide this out to the right of the character sheet. You must have to fold that. And then that makes total sense. And that is awesome. Okay. I don't know. It doesn't say fold anywhere. It's a dotted line, which as a teacher usually means fold. And that... Okay, so slide this out to the left of Marlowe's character sheet. Yeah. I got my... Literally got my left and my rights confused. Yes. This is amazing. This character sheet, it's a different system from D&D. I'm fully seeing that. And I am having nightmares of Mithras. That took hours for me to understand what is going on. And to have a cheat sheet for what these mean, even if I never play it, It's stuff like this from a game design perspective makes me say I need to support this. We got great things happening here. This is moving the hobby forward. And speaking out of both sides of my mouth here, it is complicated. I'm getting that vibe. Is it more complicated than D&D? I would say yes. But I remember when I first started D&D and I thought this was the most confusing thing ever. I didn't understand. But from what I know, it is more complex. But when you offer things like this to help, kudos. Amazing. Well done. But someone needs to just write the word fold here. Okay, Marlowe Fairwind. Here we go. Community, more on being loreborn, more on what it means to be an elf. Actually, there's a mechanic here. Elves are typically tall humanoids with pointed ears and acutely attuned senses. Celestial trance. During a long rest, as one of your actions, you may choose to drop into an elven trance. When you do, roll a number of d8 equal to the stress you have marked and clear all stress. If any of these dice have a matching value, also clear all hit points. Interesting. So if you have a lot of stress, you're going to roll a lot more d8s, and which means you have a much higher chance of clearing your... That seems pretty cool. The more hurt you are, the more of a chance you have to get healed. Seems opposite of how it should be. There is also a mechanic for the Loreborn, which is the community. Well read. You have advantage on any rolls you make that deal with the history, culture, or politics of a prominent person or place. I like it. Okay. Subclass, Primal Origin. Spellcast, Instinct. Well, that was something that I wasn't quite sure about before, and there we go. The card answers it. Your primal origin allows you to modify the essence of magic itself. After you cast a spell or use a weapon that deals magic damage, you may mark a stress to do one of the following. Extend its reach by 1 range, add +2 to the action roll result, re-roll any number of damage dice, hit an additional target within range with the spell. Oh, wow. Add 2 to the action roll, which is like your skill check. Modify the essence. After you cast a spell or use a weapon that deals magic damage, you may mark a stress and do... Modify the essence of it. After you cast a spell or use a weapon. So I guess it depends on the spell that you would need to add +2. So... Oh... When would that be relevant? I guess I'm not smart enough to know. If you're like, detect magic, you cast a spell and you're not quite sure, so then you can use a stress to up the number, I guess. Domain. At the beginning of a session, place a number of tokens equal to your spell cast trait on this card. You can make a spell cast roll against a target within far range and spend any number of tokens to channel raw energy from within yourself and unleash against them. On a success, roll a number of d10 equal to the tokens you spent, and do that much magic damage to the target. Mark a stress to replenish this card with tokens up to your spellcast trait. Clear all tokens at the end of the session. Interesting. Okay. There's a lot going on with that stress. That's pretty cool. All right, what is this? Recall cost. Cards can be taken out of your loadout and put into your vault, which makes them inactive. Okay, why would you want to do that? Cards can be taken out of your loadout and put into your vault, which makes them inactive. The recall cost is the amount of stress you can spend to bring them back into your loadout. You must have a limited number of loadouts, I guess. If I go up here, did it mention loadouts? Not that I remember. Okay. Let's see. Spellcast roll. Uses your spellcast trait, which we know is instinct. Spend 2 hope to conjure throwing blades that strike any enemy close to you. Make a spellcast roll, and all targets that you succeed against take d10 magic damage. If any targets you hit are currently vulnerable, which is a condition in the game, if a creature is vulnerable, roll against them has advantage. They take an additional 2d10 magic. Okay, wow. Nope, and then we're on to the next character. All passive bonuses have already been applied to your character sheet. Let's see. So my question is, why? How many can be in my loadout? What is my loadout? Spend hope, hit points, stress. What do these boxes mean? Okay, so I'm kind of just saying those out loud to when we get into the player's manual, if I can remember those. Okay, so that is one character. I went in depth on that. So what else do we have? In one of my episodes, I'm not sure the order they're going to come out, but I have been freaking jacked on frogs as a playable class. I don't know why, but I think I saw some artwork of like a heroic frog and I loved it. So here we have Barnacle, the Underborn Ribbit Rogue, and character sheet. Different hit points and stress levels as a rogue. Different evasion, different armor, which I would expect. Here they have finesse as their +2, so that's like their main ability. They have They Don't See Me Coming and Strike a Deal. As a rogue, they can hide. When you move into a location where no enemies can see you, you are hidden, which means you are unable to be directly targeted by attacks and any rolls against you at disadvantage. Very cool. Like that it gives you like, hey, you're hidden. So we understand that, but what does that actually mean in the game? Like, I've struggled for a while and it doesn't come up a lot in my campaigns, whether I'm playing or running, but like the grapple mechanic. What does grapple really mean? I guess it means like movement is 0, but do I grab their arms? Maybe it's too crunchy for me to expect more about how grapple works. And maybe it's different for different situations. I don't know, but my first impression of what I just read, I like that. All right, it has sneak attack. Let's see if it's any different than D&D. If you have advantage on an attack roll or an ally is in melee with your target, always add a D8 to your damage roll. When you sneak attack, you may also spend any number of hope before the attack roll, and if it's successful, also add a number of D8 equal to the hope spent. So here you could have a ton of hope. You could go all out and deal a ton of D8, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because you're just trying to get over this threshold here of 14. It's not like in D&D where you're trying to deal 80 points of damage, which, to my point before, is kind of a bummer, right? What's more cool to say, yeah, I dealt, in this example, 50 points of damage, but all that matters is that you did more than 14. Oh, I did 50. Well, it just matters that you did more than 14. Right? Okay. Then explanation of that, great. Oh, look at this frog. Look. Can we just appreciate Ribbit here? He's got his cute little sack on. He's carrying a twig, his map. What? Some kind of acorn dagger leaf on his belly. Just kudos. All right, let's see. Nightwalker, Underborn. What was the other one? Lowborn, and now this is Underborn. Won't go over the details of it. Finesse is their spellcast ability. Yada yada yada. Okay, Garrick Reed, Highborn Human. Great. He's got even higher. More HP to start with, I think. More stress. Agility is his main skill, main attribute. Call of the Brave. He's a warrior. Great. I wonder if this is AI generated art or oh, here you go. Artist name TK. I guess the artist can be using AI. I'm not sure. All right, Kari Nix, Wanderborn, Giant Guardian. Strength, the highest of high. Ooh, this HP is blacked out. This, to me, this looks like hand drawn almost. If I zoom in, maybe a paint or something. But I wonder. Well, let's go down and see if we can figure it out here. No. Okay, so Giant Guardian. Don't care to look up what that was, even though I was curious before. Wildborn Qatari Ranger. You can play as a lion type person. Cool. Ranger. Varian Soto. Oh, your loadout. Oh, okay, I missed this. So here it says loadout. Level 1 loadout. Oh, okay. But to me, it's not quite what determines my loadout. Okay, community, ancestry, ranger. How many spells can I have? I would like to see. I know these are pre-generated characters, and it totally makes sense. But I'd like to see, and I'm jumping the gun here, like just the outlines for cards. And so when they get printed off, or I can only imagine that they're going to like actually sell these cards, I'd like to see slots, like physical slots for them. Okay. The Game Master. Introduction, the Sablewood. character packet, fielding questions. I don't want to read this line for line here. Teaching the game. Let's see. Action rolls. Great. Combat. I want to know about the armor here. Okay, let me read this. Success with hope, success with fear. Oh no, we already talked about that. Well, I want to read it. Okay, I want to read it. How dice rolls affect the story. Okay, I think I understand how it works mechanically for combat, but here we go. All right, we've talked about how dice roll. Let's talk about what they do in the story. Usually, I'll set a difficulty for the roll based on the situation, like 6 or 14 or 25, and your goal is to meet or beat that number. If an ability or spell has a number on it, like spell cast roll 13, that's the difficulty of the roll. If you succeed, you get what you wanted. If you don't, you fail, and something new happens in the story because of it. Hope and fear also play a part in this. If you get a success with hope, that means you accomplish your goal and all is well. You can continue to pass the scene around the table to the other players as you'd like. A success with fear means you do it, but there's a consequence or a complication. So I'll get to make what we call a, quote, GM move. This means I'll change the story in some way. You might have to mark a stress, bad guys might attack, the environment might change, or something else entirely. The move I make won't undermine your success. You will get what you wanted, but it means I'll continue to push the story we're telling forward in an exciting way. So, more power to the GM, but with more power comes more responsibility. If you say, I passed with fear, I succeeded with fear, you need to be ready to say, all right, this happens, but XYZ. If you roll a failure with hope, you don't get what you wanted, but things don't go as badly as they could. I'll make a move in line with the fiction, and then I'll turn things back to the rest of the table. If you roll a failure with fear, the situation goes very badly. I'll get to make a move, and I'll probably raise the stakes to highlight consequences. Saving the best for last, if you ever roll 2 of the same number, no matter what that number is, that is a critical success in Daggerheart. You get what you wanted and a little extra. You get to mark a hope, and you can also clear a stress if you have one. If it is an attack roll, you get to add the maximum your damage dice could roll as a modifier to your damage roll. If you would deal 1d8 plus 4, you'd add 8 to the roll. And for the mechanic of just try to get that 12, 13, 14, 15 number, that's pretty huge. That is critical. That is worthy of what I would think a critical success is. And I also like that 2 1s crit, 2 2s crit, 2 3s. It's not just over whatever the challenge rating would be. And I guess the highest you could get would be 12, and that's a pretty low challenge rating. Okay. I am liking a lot of what I'm reading here. It is pretty sweet. Okay, combat. Put the action tracker card on some standees. All right, when a fight breaks out, I want to know about armor. All right, what is this? Marlowe Fairwind again? Why is that there? Why is that character sheet there again? Interesting. Okay. Teaching the game. Ranges, mechanical overview, 10 is easy, 15, 20 is hard. 24 plus your modifiers, but 24 on the dice is as high as you can get. GM move defined. Create a complication signal that a new threat is on its way. Reveal a new danger. Spend tokens on the action tracker. Have the PC... Wow, lots of options. Great. Let's see. When an adversary attacks a PC, you'll make an attack roll. Roll a d20. Yeah, see? Roll a d20. Ugh. That's a miss, I think. When an adversary attacks a PC, you'll make an attack roll. Roll a d20 and add the adversary's attack modifier. Then ask if the total meets or beats the evasion value on the PC's character sheet. If it does, you'll roll the damage dice and tell the PC what the value and type is. That's a 5 and a 3, so that's 8 points of physical damage. While in battle, the tokens placed on the action tracker are a good way to keep track of who you might want to spotlight next. Oh yeah, without getting into it, I could find the paragraph, but I believe initiative is very much works like a social encounter. Anybody can just perk up and say, all right, I want to attack. Okay, I think I've got the right thing to help the situation out. I'm going to attack. So let's see if I can find that quick. You can spend tokens that are on the action tracker 1-for-1 to activate any adversaries that are on the battlefield. Activating an adversary means that it is their turn to act, usually to move and or attack a target in range of their weapon. You can only activate each adversary once per GM move. So once you've activated every adversary who is in the fight, any remaining tokens stay on the tracker until next time. All right, my brain is starting to get cooked, so... and I'm reading it backwards here. When PCs roll a failure with fear, you can make a GM move. Okay, yeah, I read that. You can spend an token on the action tracker 1-for-1 to activate any adversaries that are on the battlefield. So why would you want an adversary to act? It means it's their turn to act, usually to move. You can only activate each adversary once per GM move. So once you've activated every adversary who is in the fight, any remaining tokens stay on the tracker until next time. At any time, you can spend 2 action tokens to gain a fear. Okay, well, I'm missing what an action token is. Let me go back up here. Combat, fight breaks. Let's see. Combat. When you want to attack a target, you'll ask me if it's in range of your weapon. If it is, you can make an action roll with that weapon using the trait it calls for. That is called an attack roll. If you succeed against the target, you'll then make a damage roll. Look at the damage dice section of your weapon and roll what it says. Then tell me the total and whether the damage is physical or magic. When a fight breaks out, I'll usually place this action tracker on the table. Okay, here's the action tracker. I'll read that. Whenever you make an action roll, also place a token on the tracker. You aren't limited in how many tokens you put on, so if you ever need more, feel free to grab them. Oh yeah, this was in the, any small item that's not confused for a dice. That's what that was. Then, when any player rolls a failure or with fear, I can use my GM move to spend as many of those tokens as I want to activate the enemies. We'll see it all in action soon, but for now, let's get a short break before play. Oh. So when the players act, they spend an action point? And then the GM can use those action points to control their characters. So the more the players do, the more the GM can do. Oh, okay. Whenever PCs make an action roll, they place a character token on the action tracker. When the GM makes a move, they may choose to spend any number of the tokens currently on the action tracker. For each token they blink cut off, they can activate an adversary on the battlefield, take an action, spell, make an attack, and they can use any of them. Okay. Look at these frogs. Okay, alright, got it. Understanding, slowly but surely. Action tracker. Anytime you can spend 2 actions to gain fear. Spend 2 fear to interrupt the scene with a GM move. Let's see, is this the GM's guide? Yep. Okay, look at GM's guide. Okay. So I was reading this from the player's perspective because I'm terrible at reading. Now I understand. Okay. You can spend fear when making an attack roll to add an additional d20, and when the players do their actions and they roll with fear, the GM gets these points. Okay. All right. Is this a stat block? If so, that is pretty sweet. Pretty short and sweet. Narrative overview, the merchant cart. Act 2, Thicket of Thieves. Okay, I think this is for the adventure. Oh yeah, what am I even reading? Oh yeah, this is just the quick start adventure. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. The adventure, Thicket Thieves. I love these character sheets, or not character sheets, monster stat blocks. I guess that's what I'm looking for. All right. Yeah, the adventure. Cool things to hand out. Great. I know I'm going really fast through this. Oh, and there's the action tracker. Nice. All right. How am I doing on time? I bet you I don't even know. And I don't have a way to track it. All right, let's keep going. I think I've already got a really good look at it. Okay, let's go to let's do the open beta. 377 pages. So I'm going to read a fraction of this. All right, Daggerheart team, great. Darrington Press, great. Are these linked? Oh, thank you, Jeebus. Okay, I want to know armor. Control F. Armor. Finding. Attack rolls. Equipment. Okay, let's go click attack rolls. When an adversary you're controlling attacks a PC, you'll take a number of extra character tokens equal to their attack bonus and roll them with your d20. Then add everything up to get your attack roll total. Tell the player or players that have been targeted by the attack what the total is. Ask them to compare it against their evasion score. And if the attack meets or beats that score, it is successful and deals damage. If it rolls below their evasion score, the attack misses and no damage is dealt. If the attack misses, invite the player to describe how they avoid the blow. Blocking, parrying, full body dodge, magical deflection, etc. You can always add advantage to an adversary's attack roll by spending fear. Super cool. Empowering the GM. That's so cool. When making an attack against multiple targets with the same adversary, you make one attack roll and ask if it hits any of the targets. If you are making individual attacks with multiple adversaries at the same time, make an attack roll for each. All right, makes sense. Attacks as a story. Okay. I really want to know loadout, and I really want to know armor. Those are my big questions. Damage rolls. Let's see. Equipment. Using armor. Okay. Again, I'm having flashbacks of Mithras, having to like jump all around, and I know this is in beta, so it's given a lot more freedoms, but I just have a feeling, I even see the term armor slots right now, that this is just far superior to Mithras. Okay. Actually, I will jump to the third paragraph here. When you take damage, you can negate some or all of it by marking one of the open armor slots next to the armor box, then reducing the damage by your armor score. You have 3 available armor slots to start and can earn more over the course of a campaign. That's amazing. I don't necessarily... You know what? I do like it. I was just going to say I like that it's spelled out. Hallelujah. I understand it. Great. I kind of wish it just was a forever thing. However, also cool. Your armor is going to get damaged. Your armor isn't going to be nice and shiny forever. It's taking hits and attacks. It's going to get ruined. And so it loses its effectiveness. My initial reaction is, well, I guess you save it for bigger attacks. But, like, I would like to think that I wear my armor so when I'm at a big boss battle, if he hits me for a big shot, I'm absorbing... My armor has helped keep me alive. But here is like, oh, well, a lowly character got a good shot on me, dealt me a lot of damage. I'm going to save 5 hit points here. I'm going to use it here. But maybe through playing, I would understand it better, and rereading it. Each time you take damage, you mark an armor slot as you'd like, up to the total you have remaining when reducing damage. Once all armor slots are filled, your armor is considered broken and can't be used again until you repair it, either as an action during downtime or at a local armor shop. Super cool. I would love to... Maybe I'll control F and look for downtime activities. I've said this before. Downtime is something I really like. I think downtime could be so much cooler. I just don't know, at least that for my game, I just don't know enough about it. So I'm excited to read about that. Okay, 1 answer confirmed. Let's go back up and find loadout. How cool is it that in these 377 pages, I already know how to play the game. I could already run the game solely based off the character sheets. That's how it's supposed to freaking be. Now, cheating, also, they give you these. They give you these foldable things and explain everything, but I don't care. It's like my favorite game, Mothership. It's a whole book on rules, but all of the rules are on the back cover. So does the back cover negate everything that's inside of it? No, that's where the specifics are. That's where the weapons are, the list of weapons with the different damage and different features, but how to play the game is on the back. Well, how to play the game is right here. Love it. This is awesome. Okay, and loadout. Let me see if I can control F. Loadout. Perfect. Recall cost. Let's see. See loadout and vault. Oh my god, this is amazing. You can only have... That's a sigh of happiness. You can only have a maximum of 5 domain cards active at any one time, along with your subclass, ancestry, and community cards. At lower level, you won't have enough cards for this to be an issue, but once you reach level 5 and above, you'll need to choose which domain cards to be kept in your loadout and which to store in your vault. Cards in your loadout can be held in your hand or placed on the table next to your character sheet. Do whatever makes it easiest to access them. Any cards in your loadout are considered active and can be utilized or benefit from during play. Your vault holds any domain cards that are inactive and not currently in your loadout. Vault cards should be kept somewhere out of the way, but close enough that they are available if they need to be accessed during a session. Yep. Swapping cards, they each have that cost. If adjusting your loadout during a short or long rest, see downtime. Oh, there's a whole section for downtime. Oh my god, working on a project in downtime. Oh my god. Oh. Consequences. Downtime is designed to narratively allow for quiet scenes between players that encourage personal moments in the story, while also allowing some of their resources to refresh for the coming adventures. On the GM side, it's also an invitation for them to progress events happening in the background that will have consequences down the line. The world doesn't stop when players rest, so be cautious of how many rests a party decides to take. Okay, I get that. Like, yeah, players are talking, players are doing their thing. It's time for the GM to figure out, okay, what's the next step, what's going on, and if they're resting for too long, come up with a consequence, especially in a dungeon. That's great. All right, death. How does death work? These death moves. Facing death is an important part of being an adventurer, and having a character die can be an exciting end to a story and an opportunity for the player to transition into something new. In Daggerheart, when you mark your last hit point, you must make a death move. What is a death move? Choose one of the options below. Embrace death and go out in a blaze of glory. Take one action at GM discretion, which becomes an automatic critical success. Then cross through the veil of death. Amazing. Well put. Love it. Avoid death and face the consequences. You drop unconscious temporarily and work with the GM to describe how the situation gets much worse because of it. Then roll your fear die. If its value is equal to or under your level, take a scar. You may not take any actions while unconscious. When you have any number of your marked hit points cleared by an ally or on your party's next long rest, you will return to consciousness. Okay, what is a scar? That's my next question. You avoid death, but face the consequences. If you roll your fear die. If its value is equal to or under your level, take a scar. Okay, I gotta know what a scar is. Oops. Thank you. Oh my god, I'm so happy reading this. Even if it's not your cup of tea, you gotta respect how well this is laid out in beta form. Okay. Risk it all. Roll your duality dice. If hope is higher, you stay on your feet and clear an amount of hit points and or stress equal to the value of the hope die. Divide the hope die value up between these however you'd prefer. If your fear die is higher, you cross through the veil of death. If the duality dice are tied, you stay on your feet and clear all hit points and stress. So I want to learn more about how can you tweak this? Can you have advantage on hope and disadvantage on fear? If that has not been explored yet, that needs to happen. I think that's great. If a player makes a death move that results in their character dying or no longer being able to play, they should work with the GM before the next session to build a new character. Great. Okay, what is a scar? If you choose to avoid death, you might take a scar. If you do, permanently cross out one of your hope slots. You cannot use this slot to store hope anymore. The narrative impact of this scar is up to you. For example, you might now bear a physical scar, a painful memory, or a deep fear. So cool. When you put a scar on your last hope slot, it's time to end your character's journey. Work with the GM to find a graceful and fitting way for the party to say goodbye to them at the end of the session and prepare a new character. I'm loving this. Let's see, resurrection. It is possible to resurrect a dead character. Okay, flow of combat. Yeah, I don't want to read all of this. More on the action tracker. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Just go through the index here if there's anything I care about. Touchstones, have no idea. I'll read it later. Magic and spells, I'm curious to go over those, but we don't need to do it right now. Preparing for an adventure, choosing your heritage, background. I don't know what these domains are. Class, Bard, Druid, Guardian, Ranger, Rogue, Seraph, Sorcerer, Warrior, Wizard. Ancestries, great. Community, okay. Additional player tools. Playing blind, deaf, or mute characters. I will read that for sure. Let's see. Playing an adventure, flow of the game, example, interaction. What can I do on my turn? Those are all must-haves for a game. Core mechanics, duality dice, stress, special. I mean, anything you want and how to play the game is great. Okay. How leveling up works, taking domain card. Ooh, multi-classing. Okay. Equipment, I'm excited to look at that. GM principles, core GM mechanics, action tracker. Ooh, I wonder if there's like a CR rating. GM advantage and disadvantage. Oh, you know what? Let's go to the duality dice because I wonder if it mentions advantage or not. Using fear, damage thresholds. Okay, no, back it up. The core dice in Daggerheart are a pair of D12s called duality dice. These D12s are different colors, one representing hope, one is fear. Each player chooses 2 colors of dice that embody these concepts for them, using them to make an action roll. During the game, your duality dice don't need to be the same 2 colors as anyone else on the table. The duality dice represents the way the world pushes the character back or guides them forward throughout the story. Regardless of whether you succeed or fail an action roll, your duality die will influence how the scene evolves. If fear is higher, if hope is higher, critical success using hope. Ooh, a hope feature, yeah. Helping an ally. Alright, advantage and disadvantage. I don't know which one I want to click next. Let's try action rolls. Trait rolls, roll difficulty. Add extra dice and dice modifiers. Once you know which trait to use, it's time to figure out if any other dice or modifiers apply to the roll. Set aside any dice you need, such as the following. Duality dice. You roll your hope and fear dice with every action roll. If you have advantage or disadvantage, set aside that d6 for your roll. Especially if you're rolling with disadvantage, make sure your disadvantage dice is a distinct color so you can remember which die to subtract from the result. Okay, doesn't mention there. Let's try here. Oh, that one, this link doesn't work. Okay, so let me go back up and see if advantage and disadvantage. Think I can find it really quick? Doubt it. Advantages and disadvantages. Because you control both the difficulty and the addition of advantage disadvantage on a roll, why not just raise or lower the difficulty instead? You certainly can, but the advantage disadvantage system allows there to be some illusion of a defined world and lets players feel good about their advantage and the chance to roll extra dice. That's fair. For any standard adventure, it would be difficult. E15 to sneak by the head. The world exists. Yeah, okay. All right, I get that. Not quite what I wanted. I would play that um, regardless at my table. I would give you individual advantage for hope and fear. Vice and same for disadvantage. Uh, I I would do that. I think that is pretty cool. Advantage and disadvantage. That's the D6. So probably tricky. Okay, let me think about this. They've got the D6. Let's see. Disadvantage. On an action roll or reaction roll represents an additional difficulty, hardship, or challenge. Roll the PCs with the subtract 6. Okay. So they've already got the system in place. Advantage is just roll a D6 and add it. Disadvantage is roll a D6 and subtract it. Obviously, D&D advantage is roll a D20 twice, take the higher one. So the system, they don't have a re-roll the dice system, which, okay, I get, but I would say I wonder how you could implement it where you can disadvantage. Ooh, now I'm going like 4D chess here. You'd have to like roll a D6, but only apply it to your fear dice or your hope dice, which does affect your overall score, but could play in to the hope and fear dice. So you could say like, okay, roll your duality dice, but roll with fear disadvantage. So you roll, let's say, 2. Well, we don't want them to tie because that's critical, but easy math. Let's say you roll 2 4s, okay, and it's not a critical even though it is. You could say, okay, roll me your duality dice with disadvantage on fear. So then you roll yours, you got 2 4s, and then you roll your 6, and it could be any number since it's a tie. So let's say your disadvantage dice is a 6. You could then add 6 to your 4 fear dice. Oh, yeah, that wouldn't work because you'd be more likely to succeed at the task adding 6, but your fear would set it back. Okay. Yeah. All right. Tricky. I don't know what would be best. My heart right now says re-roll fear and re-roll hope, and then advantages take the higher or lower depending on what your goal that you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. Interesting. So key takeaways from these: the stress is cool. The fear is cool. That powers the GM. Hope is cool. Powers your players. Stress can be spent on things. Very cool. All right. And then the last thing is GM materials. GM start here. Character creation, player guide, starting equipment. Let's check this out. Ooh. Whoo. Okay. Battle axe uses strength. Saber uses agility. Finesse, which is I think strength or agility. Presence is a rapier. Very cool. Oh, they have features? Yes. If you listen to my Omega Fantasy 2, I think weapons should have features. Just brief glance here, +2 to your armor score. Yes. Oh, that's your shield. So that's just the basic thing. +1 to agility, +1 to attack rolls with this weapon. Yes, yes, yes. Expand this. If there's like a magic item section, totally need this. Totally need this. Physical damage, great. Magical damage, great. Burden. I don't think that's necessary. This is a little too different. You could just say like, single hand or two hand. Rather than having a picture of it. Okay, yeah. +2 evasion. What does it do? Yep, great. Great. Let's see. Play guide. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yes. Thank you. Give this to your players. I would say this is a little too wordy, and maybe it needs to be, but it's got a whole section for downtime. Yes, I'm a nerd. I said it. Okay, I'm excited about this. That's amazing. Yes, love this. Perfect. D&D, you are being outclassed here. Character creation. Step by step, what you need to do. Mithras, you garbage. Yes. Oh my god. Amazing. With examples, Alucard, Dracula backwards, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. Oh my god. Yes. Yes. Very cool. Campaign maps. Let's see. This is for the adventure. Now, I hope this comes out and this is all full color someday. Let me just say I'm going to buy this. Take all my money. I may never use it, but this is... If you're going to come out with... What is the word I'm looking for here? Like elite or top notch, S tier. These aren't the words, but if you're looking for a top shelf, premium is closer to what I'm looking for. If you're looking for like as soon as I finish recording, I'm gonna wake up at 3 a.m. and the word is gonna come to me. But like we'll say top tier. If you're going for that top tier game, you're trying to compete with D&D. This is how you do it. This is so many great pieces. Again, I can run this off the character sheet, the depth of things I'm getting. And again, this is a beta test. Like, unreal. Let's see. Subclass. Yeah, print these out. Yeah. I love this. I don't know if I would spend money on a physical deck. Oh yeah, Seraphs are angels. Got it. But very cool. Very cool. I think when you print these out, they would feel a little cheap if they were actual cards. Like, being that I love Magic the Gathering, if you made this into like actual like playing cards, I think that'd be pretty cool. I might have just said I wouldn't buy them, but you should make them. So talking out of both sides of my mouth. But yeah, for a play test, for an open beta play test, you get a ton. There's, whether or not there's ways to abuse it, there's typos, I don't know what, but this is a massive game that you are getting tons of stuff for free. It may not be perfect, but it is complete. Well, you know what? That's a lie. There was no monster manual. So what you got was the starting adventure. Now I've got so many tabs. And let's see. I think this was the page. And towards the end here, now I'm all messed up. Here we go. Thicket Thieves. Here we go. A Strix Wolf Mother. Here's everything you need. 1d6 plus 3. Attack modifier plus 1. To hit them, you got to roll a 10. On damage, 1 to 3 is minor. 4 to 7 is major. Severe, you can one-shot them with damage of 8 or higher. I think. That's my understanding. Let me go here. Let's see. Were there monsters? I saw there was a part that was still in black here. So this part 5, customizing. Custom domain cards. So they call them adversaries. They weren't monsters. So let's see. Oops. Control F. Adversaries. Adversary types. Let's just try adversaries. Adversary breakdown. Jagged Knife Bandit. Okay. Describing thresholds. Ooh, experience. Like PC, some adversaries have experience that make them especially capable in certain situations. However, unlike PCs, these experiences don't apply to adversary attack rolls. Instead, the GM can use their experience either on a relevant reaction roll as a bonus or against the PC's roll to increase the difficulty. When creating and or applying experience, the GM should think about how to limit the scope of that experience to certain impactful moments or situations. So I'd have to do more reading on experience, but tags and traits, relentless, slow, minion. Oh, cool. Yes, rules for a horde. That's awesome. Group attacks. Bruiser, horde, leader, minion. Let's just pick this one a standard. No, that's boring. Bruiser, tough adversaries with powerful attacks. Social, adversaries that are primarily interpersonal threats or challenges. Scaling adversaries, that's the CR rating I was thinking about before. An example, an assassin poisoner who's a skulk. There's their stats. First, the difficulty of the poisoner drops 14 to 12, so that level 1 characters can frequently succeed. Yeah, experience here, so that's a new thing I don't know. Oh, tier 1, tier 2. That's new. D&D doesn't necessarily have this. I have other monster manuals that I can't remember who makes them, but they have things like this, so that's glad. I'm happy to see that. Tier 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Countdowns. Wow. This is... I've gone over enough. I've reviewed enough things that I've got a sixth sense for this now, and I am excited about this. I think this is pretty awesome. And, all right, I think we'll be wrapping it up here. Do yourself a favor. It is free. This is all free. The biggest weakness, and maybe I'm just missing it here, is there's no monster manual. There's enough for you to make something. You've got all the tools there to do it. It's just not given to you, which, for free in testing this out, great. And I wouldn't expect them to actually give you more than 20 different monsters in a freebie thing. I mean, they need your money for something. So, wow. I did not think I would be this impressed by it. What's near the bottom? What's on page 377? Yeah, okay, so part 5 was like in the works here. Fallen Warlord, undefeated champion. Oh, are there? What is this last little bit here? Looks like a lot of monsters to me, actually. Okay. Oh my! I will freak out if there is a zombie in here. It's my favorite. What? Zombie. What? Arc Necromancer Leader? Spend a fear to summon a zombie legion at close range, which instantly activates. Oh my god, yes. Zombie Legion. Oh my god, what is. Oh my god. 10d6? I don't know what difficulty 17 means, but it's got to be pretty high. It means something. Okay, lots of zombies here. Overwhelm. Okay, actually, I want to read this. Unyielding. Zombie Legion has resistance to physical damage, so that must mean it takes half damage. Zombie Legion may activate twice in a GM move, so it has 2 attacks. Overwhelm. When a creature within melee distance deals damage to Zombie Legion, but it does not cause Zombie Legion to mark hit points. So, oh my god, less than 18? Oh my god. Spend a fear to have Zombie Pack immediately make an attack against that creature with advantage. Oh my god. Motives and tactics: surround, shred flesh, consume target's brain. Oh my god, yes. If Zombie Legion has half or more of its hit points marked, its attack only deals 5d6. So that is a very much, I don't know if horde is the right word, but when there are multiple monsters, I know that it's a popular thing where eventually you are cutting down their ranks, so there aren't as many to do as much damage. Okay, but a zombie does not have the ability to turn you into a zombie, at least on that one. Patience. Okay, I will read these off camera, but zombies are my favorite, so I gotta learn that or read up on that. So, oh my god. So let me go back to the index. What is the last? Open door policy. The open door policy is a safety tool. Tell your players that they are welcome to leave the game at any time for any reason, and reassure them that they will not be punished or judged. Okay, yeah. Index. Adversary reference. Here we go. Tiers 0, 1, 2, 3. Let me click 3, and that was this here. Okay, no, actually, I want to go back. It takes us to almost the very end of the 377 pages, so I just want to see how many pages worth there are. 50 pages of adversaries with multiple adversaries per page, and they are tiered where you can upgrade them weaker to stronger. Okay. Am I over enthusiastic? No. Daggerheart is going to be freaking sweet. For attacking, I'm not sure I like the D20, but it does allow you to use more of your dice. Like in D&D, you're using your D20 and maybe a D6 or D8, whatever your weapon deals, and that's about it. So you get to use more dice. You've got a D20 for combat. You've got your duality dice outside of combat. For your weapons, you've got whatever D6, D8, whatever it says. So you're using more dice. So I understand that. That's cool. You buy this big set, and do you ever use the D4? Rarely, right? So, very cool. Go check it out. Daggerheart, I'm pumped on it. You can play as frogs. Did I mention that? You can play as frogs. I'm not going to find a picture of it, but cheat sheets, player's guides. Wow. D&D, you are behind the times. I know you're coming out with a new 5.5 edition, but that is just like rules tweaks. It needs to be this. Wow. Very cool. All right, I'm just rambling. First impression of Daggerheart. You put art in there, they're going to respect the art. I just know it. We got a home run on our hands here, folks. Biggest criticism I have of D&D is the D20 and how swingy it can be. D12 has the curve. Within the curve, you've got hope, you've got fear. So even if you don't succeed, you can get a little bit. D20 in combat, like I said, I'm a little okay. If that brings the swinginess, yeah, I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe there's more stats to add. I'm not sure. But everything else I see, wow, great. So go check it out, Daggerheart. Take something from it. Run it exactly as is. Whatever you need to do to keep being creative. See you in the next episode. Later.